quit smoking, a person needs skills and tools and tactics to deal with all the reasons that make them want to smoke. So the first step is actually identify what the triggers are for your smoking. Why do you want to smoke? So for some people that might be a bit of a routine, you know, after dinner I have a smoke, when I get in the car I have a smoke. It can also be emotions. I'm feeling a bit stressed, I'll have a smoke. Feeling a bit bored, I'll have a smoke. So the first task is actually to work out what makes me want to smoke. What are all those things that make me go, oh, I want a cigarette? And then the second part is to then work out some strategies and tools to deal with those triggers. So one thing that can be really useful is to use a cravings tally. Sounds really complicated, but all it is for one day, just write down every time you want to smoke or have a smoke, then what were you doing? And what were you feeling? What was going through your mind? Then look back at it and start to see your patterns. And then work out what's a different way that I can deal with that trigger. So for example, the coffee's a really common one. You might switch to herbal tea instead. When you get in the car, you might, have a mint straight away. Put your favourite song on and put the window down. At work, when you're thinking, I need to have a break, go have a drink of water, go for a walk around the block instead. So they're just little ways to change those routines.
Well, yeah, stress, the struggles, family issues and whatnot, what we have to deal with, what I have to deal with nearly every day. So now I'll go to work, I don't worry about my personal stuff, but when I come home I click back into my personal mode, and then all my struggles and battles just click back in, and I'm trying to deal with that while I'm outside of work. And then when I go back into work, I'm still stressed, but I need to put that aside to get my work done. But at the same time, try not to have a cigarette. So yeah, that's why I started smoking again.
So mostly what we'd ask first off is, why do you smoke? What is the reason why you've relapsed? What's the main reason of your wanting to smoke?
My relapse was stress. So something happened that I didn't have any control over or couldn't change, so I need a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then and I think when you do relapse, I think that instead of going on your journey, keep going on your journey and going, it's okay, I've made that mistake, but I'll keep going. I think you kind of stay stagnant. You stay at that level where, I'm smoking now, so I'm going to keep smoking.
Yeah. So
yeah. Then you try again, and then the stress will happen again. So you're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no.
You haven't had that support and the strategies that you would normally use. You don't have that structure. No. What about you?
Mine would be stress, and partly a social smoker also.
Yeah.
But due to family stress and that's mainly mine that triggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not a very big smoker. I just normally have one or two and that's it.
Okay, so you're not actually you're mainly not socially dependent on the cigarettes part of it. It's more of that social thing and that quick release of stress kind of action.
Yeah.
So it's like a low dependency on the tobacco kind of feeling in that, where it's actually...
I'm not addicted.
You're one of those that you can stop it, you can pick it back up, it's very thing, but...
Yeah.
And it's easy for you to actually attempt to quit and actually stay quit if you actually... get on that path, because people that have that low dependency tend to find their other avenues when they use those strategies and those different techniques and that to actually stay quit.
Yep.
What about you, buddy?
Well, like Shelly said, stress, but with me, it's mainly everyday life. So with the struggles I'll go through out of work, it's a bit full on. So I'll use smoking as a stress relief sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But on like weekends and stuff, when I do socialise and whatnot, that gets me too.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm out and open and dealing with my problems, but there is some that I can't deal with or don't know how to. So that's why, so when I'm out and about, I'll just pick up a cigarette and
So when you're out, you don't realise you have that control to kind of count, okay, I've had 5 cigarettes, maybe I should stop because I've had 5 in an hour. You know, do you find that you've tried to do that in the past?
Yeah, I've tried to do that, but mainly out of the majority of the time, I've gone past my limit when I'm out socialising.
Yeah.
And then like I said, and then I'll realise and I'll think, you know, I've gone over 4, 5, 6 and whatnot.
And have you found when you, even when you were saying you were stressed, when you weren't stressed, did you find, like, because you were smoking so much, because you were stressed, you just kept going? You know, did you find that it just kept rolling on? Like, you had about 3 or 4 smokes when you were stressed, and now you weren't stressed, now it's kind of like, oh, I'm bored because I'm not stressed anymore. Do I keep smoking, you know?
Yeah, because sort of when I have them, breaks, when I'm not out and about, I don't have as many, but then I have, you know, I could have 2, I could have 3, I could have 4 throughout the day. But in the end, I'll probably, forget or deal with something what I'm dealing with, and then I'll have another.
Yeah, and a lot of it I found working in the quit line is some people relate that to fear. When they've gotten really stressed, like something's happened, like their car's broken or they've had an accident and they've been stressed out all day, they've been smoking all day, and then they've relaxed and they've, you know, realised, okay, I'm not stressed anymore. But they want to smoke, continually smoke, because they realise if I stop smoking I might stress out again. So it's that chain effect of just keep going and smoking because, if I don't stop smoking, if I stop smoking, I'm going to continue to stress out.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, you know, relapsing that cycle.
Yeah, and I think it's the hand-to-mouth thing in the stress situation.
Yeah.
And then when, like you said, you kind of go back down a bit, it's like, you haven't got that. It sounds crazy, but it's like, I've got to have another one, even though I'm not stressed now. But
yeah. It's the habitual, it's the physical action of, okay, I've done this here to relax myself. Now what have I got to relax myself? And a lot of people find that if I don't keep doing this, I'm going to stress out, but they realise they're stressing out even more because they're not doing it, because they're thinking about it. And it's always good when they're dealing with a craving to think about the cigarettes, because it actually gives you a bit of willpower, but it also helps you deal with the temptations and the cravings to actually give you that strength to be able to, I don't need to do that all the time. So you use those strategies that we can give you that actually, you know, stop that habit, you know. And what was it for your
So the reason I wanted to get back on my quit journey was a lot to do with boredom, a lot to do with my stress levels when it comes to my job, and a hell of a lot to do with my health. So obviously health is a pretty standard one. It's pretty straightforward in what that means.
When you have this thought, this feeling that I want to have a smoke, that means that there's a trigger. It's not coming from you. That's not internally you actually wanting to have a smoke. That's something in your environment or in your mood or around you has triggered that old pathway in your brain that says, I used to smoke in that situation, and that's what the trigger is. So firstly, having an attitude that if you have a thought about smoking or wanting a cigarette again, that just means that there's a trigger, and your job is to be a bit of a detective and to work out what that trigger is. So sometimes even when people think, oh, it's just a trigger, you know, they might think I can't put my finger on what it is, but it must be a trigger there, and it will pass as well, because cravings don't last very long, only 3 to 5 minutes.
A lot of people who smoke do perceive or think that their smoking helps to relieve the stress, and that's a very easy thing to believe. But what we actually know is that it's actually perpetuating that stress. So the reason that you actually feel stressed an hour or two after a cigarette is because you're actually going into withdrawal. So you've no longer got that nicotine in your system. So it's really important, I suppose, to encourage people to see see that smoking is actually perpetuating or continuing that stress cycle.
The big reasons people start smoking is around, friends and family might smoke, their role models, and then there are those stressful life circumstances, and people think that smoking might be a way to help you deal with that stress. And what we actually find is the nicotine actually increases your stress, so you get stuck in this cycle. So the nicotine, we have the cigarette, goes boom, straight to the brain, and feels good. I can forget about my problems for a little while. And then nicotine doesn't last very long in the body. And then the nicotine withdrawal starts again, which is an increased heart rate, feeling agitated, feeling really tense. So the person thinks, oh, I'm really stressed. Cigarette will help me with that. But it was actually the nicotine that was causing those feelings. So what I would recommend to people is they're aware of what's causing their stress: work, family, finances, and to try and solve that problem, because all the smoking does is temporarily hides that feeling. So I think that's a really important part of dealing with stress and for quitting smoking, not even starting really.